And we're live. That was
Hi,
quick.
everybody, and welcome to the live. Today, we're going to be talking about the physical effects of emotions on the body and the direct role that childhood memories are having on your health. Odile, take it away.
Yes. Thank you. So I know that I often say, you know, um, thoughts are connections between neurons. Those connections trigger matching chemicals that affect our brains and bodies, that affect our health, that affects how the decisions we make, our perception, all of that. And that feeling good is the most important thing, the top priority, because that affects everything else, including our health, our healing, and all of that, not just how we feel. And I know that I say it so much, and I know that you've said in the past,
Yeah.
you know, are you sure? How do we know that? How do we know that's true? So, I thought that, this is a
Yeah.
question we get quite often,
Hmm.
and I thought it would be a good thing, a good idea to take a deep dive into the mechanics of it, literally biologically. One of the main
Yeah.
reasons is to give people um, confidence and reassurance that this is a real thing. It's biological. Did you want to get a word in there?
No, I think I'm really just kind of underscoring everything that you said, or maybe just repeating. But the way that I see it in my head, that it really is foundational in everything else that we're doing.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
that the, even, and I know you'll talk a little bit about maybe the beginner's exercise and the importance of all of that. All of that's, it can get a little bit simplistic, but it just can't stress enough how
Yeah,
foundational this is
yeah,
to everything that we're doing. And it's biological.
absolutely.
It's not,
And yeah, and not just everything we're doing, but everything, everything. And I'm going to break
yeah,
it down to exactly how,
talk to that. Yeah.
and I'm going to break down
Hmm.
specific specific chemicals that cause emotions, what they are doing inside the body that is affecting our healing. And so emotions don't just, we think of emotions as something we feel, but also intangible. They are biological because the feeling of that we feel of the emotion is caused
Hmm.
by the impact, the interactions or the impact of specific chemicals on the organs of our body, on the our bloodstream and all of that, our blood vessels rather, and all of that. So just very briefly, what I usually say, as we have a thought, the thought is the connections between neurons. And by connections, I mean one neuron connecting with another through synapses. We don't need to go into all of that. But anyway, it's physical. Thoughts are physical connections between neurons, and those connections trigger matching chemicals. So positive thoughts trigger feel good chemicals like endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, and negative thoughts trigger stress chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol. And those chemicals and the different combinations of the chemicals have specific impacts on our bodies. So, in addition to us feeling the emotions, there are other physical effects. So, I'm going to run through the feel good, each feel good chemical, with the how
Hmm.
they impact specifically healing. And then we'll talk about how childhood memories and memory reconsolidation, changing those childhood memories, impacts all of that. So I've got notes written down here because there's a lot, and I don't want to leave anything out. Okay, so endorphins. They're known as the natural painkillers, pain relievers, and they're the body's own pain relief system. So they reduce how strongly pain signals are felt. They regulate inflammation. So everybody who's got issues with inflammation, endorphins help to regulate that. They support immune balance during stress or injury. They allow the body to function and repair without being overwhelmed by pain. So, in a nutshell, endorphins lower pain and stress load so that the body doesn't have to stay in an emergency mode. So I want to keep reiterating this. As we have positive thoughts, so whether that is you're remembering something lovely, you're looking forward to something, you're watching a funny video, you're chatting with a friend who makes you laugh or that you feel good with, you're playing with your pets, you're just imagining hugging your pet or someone you love, the brain chemistry exercise we do, for example, the beginner's exercise, as you're imagining your color, the light, your subject, all of that, those connections between neurons, as you're doing that, are creating these chemicals. So now we've gone through the effects of endorphins. That's just one piece. The other chemical that is produced in all of those things that I've just said, all of those situations I've just said, is serotonin, which is regulation and repair. So it's involved. Serotonin's involved in a lot more than just, we think of it as the happy chemical, but it's involved in a lot more in the body. So it supports sleep, digestion, overall regulation. It's released during wound healing to help initiate repair. So you'll see if you are living in a state of stress and you don't have enough serotonin in your system, you can see how this directly impacts how you cut yourself and how that wound heals. This is all interconnected. It plays a role in cell division and tissue regulation. So healing, physical healing. It's linked to liver regeneration and broader cellular repair processes. It's not just about happiness. When you feel happy, you are literally allowing your cells to regenerate. Sorry, your liver to regenerate, your cellular
Mhm.
regenerate, yes, regeneration as well. So, in a nutshell, serotonin helps create stable internal conditions where repair and regeneration can happen. So, happiness helps it supports your physical healing. Next one, the other chemical that's produced in all of those situations I mentioned earlier is oxytocin. That's for safety and calm. It's associated with trust, connection, and bonding. It reduces stress responses and cortisol. It promotes calm, the parasympathetic nervous system states. It supports healing indirectly by reducing chronic stress. It creates a physiological sense of safety that allows repair processes to function. So again, it has a direct impact. In a nutshell, oxytocin signals safety, and safety is a prerequisite for healing. Next one, dopamine, which is motivation and follow through. So, dopamine drives motivation, learning, and movement. It doesn't directly heal tissue, but it supports healing behaviors. So, dopamine helps with follow through on supportive actions. It supports healthy nerve cell communication, and it's important for learning new patterns and maintaining them. Dopamine is the one of the contributors to eating healthily and exercise and maintaining those healthy habits that you want to uh, maintain in your life, establish in your life. So, in a nutshell, dopamine helps you to do the things that support healing consistently. So, putting it all together, these chemicals, of course, don't work in isolation. They reflect the state of the nervous system. So, chronic stress prioritizes survival chemistry, and safety and regulation change the chemical environment. And that change in chemistry supports pain management, immune function, and repair. So the bottom line is feeling good isn't an indulgence, it changes the biological conditions that your body is operating in. So this is why the nervous system and memory reconsolidation matter. That when the underlying patterns change, the chemistry changes automatically. And of course, we've just gone through all the physical impacts of that. So, how childhood memories and memory reconsolidation fits into all of this is that, excuse me, your our implicit childhood memories are determining our automatic thinking. So the thoughts that are just going on in the background automatically without your conscious intention, those are, among many other things, those are determined by our childhood, implicit childhood memories, which means unconscious childhood memories. So when those are negative, the automatic background thoughts are negative, without our conscious input, and that means a constant influx of stress chemicals. And on the other hand, if we change those uh, implicit childhood memories to the opposite, positive and empowering, then you've got a baseline background automatic state of thinking, automatic thinking that is positive, which means automatically creating endorphin, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine. So then you've got that automatic state. So changing those childhood memories, apart from all of the other reasons we talk about, is literally determining your health and healing. And now I'll let you get a word in, Steve.
No, and thank you for that. I think that that was really uh, a nice, tight, concise understanding of
Thank you.
of how those positive neurochemicals are impacting our system. And I guess I just wanted to highlight kind of my own experience of this, I know I've shared it in other places and that kind of thing. And it's not just my story. So many of the clients that I've worked with, have had similar types of experiences, but the childhood experience that I know that I grew up in. So uh, lots of memory around anxiety. The feeling of anxiety was there, along with other things. But just speaking to anxiety right now, um, what you just described, that those background thoughts that pop up, and it's like we typically our understanding or our experience of thought is I don't have any control of what I'm thinking. They're just popping up. But they have their roots in something previous. They have their roots in childhood. So for me, that background noise, that background hum, those thoughts that, kept polluting my world all day long were of anxiousness, anxiety. And that just kept perpetuating more of that. So that background hum of anxiety was there for years. So, living in that stress state or living in that anxious state was having a direct impact on my biology. And, long story short, I ended up with a chronic stomach ailment,
Mm-hmm.
that I know was directly related to the anxiousness. And as I worked through those negative childhood memories and was able to change that background hum, I also was able to get rid of that lifelong stomach ailment that I was also
Gotcha.
carrying. So I've been able to see those kind of things happening, with a variety of different clients that I've worked with.
Right.
So
And I
just,
wanted
that personal, story for me of how that connected.
Yes, thank you so much, Steve. Thanks for sharing that. And it's reminded me to make a point, and I should have done this earlier in the video, but I'm doing it now. Um, I want to I want to make sure that we clarify that feeling good is obviously not a replacement for medical help. So
Yeah,
I just want to be sure that we're not saying that all you need to do is feel good. Feeling good is going to make a difference to how medical uh, conditions are experienced, and the speed of healing and that kind of thing. But you need both. So you do need
absolutely.
your professional, whatever, whether that's alternative medicine or regular medical professionals or whatever, you still need all of that. You need the physical, the common sense
Hmm.
treatments is the word I'm looking for, that you would normally do.
Yeah.
And so it's not either or, it's and. If you to boost all of that, to boost the effects of the medical stuff, the treatments, being prioritizing feeling good, prioritizing doing things that feel good, prioritizing putting your focus on things that feel good. In other words, watching things that make you laugh as opposed to things that make you stressed or feel frightened or angry or anything like that. Becoming aware of how you're feeling in the moment and reminding yourself that is literally in real time affecting how your cells are regenerating or not. It is literally that straightforward. So I wanted to say that very importantly. Still, obviously, consult your medical professionals. And secondly, I wanted to get to the point where, so now we know that feeling good has literally has a physical impact on healing and health and all of that. Now the question is, how do you do it? Because obviously it's not that simple or easy to just feel good necessarily all the time. So, Steve, did you want to say anything before I dive into that?
I think that that's probably where you were going to go. I was just reminded, in your little description of the positive neurochemicals, and I don't know who I'm stealing this from in my past, but it was that understanding that it's important to get your daily dose.
Oh,
And
yeah.
dose is spelled DOSE, and that stands for dopamine, oxytocin, uh,
Serotonin.
serotonin, and endorphins. So it's just a reminder, am I getting my dose of
Yeah.
positive neurochemicals right now?
That's
So
good.
how can we do that, Odile?
So before I go into that, Madrone 77, hello, so lovely to see you here. Thank you for being here and thank you for that comment. She says a great expression, background hum. Yes, isn't it? That's thank you for that. That just came to me this morning. Um, so how do we do this? So there's obviously we know that in real time, feeling good means we've got those feel good chemicals that are having a positive, a good impact on our health and our healing. So the way you know that you've got those chemicals in your system, the feel good chemicals, is of course how you're feeling. That's how you know, because those are the chemicals that cause the feelings.
Mhm.
So, knowing that connections between neurons, thoughts are connections between neurons, and that's what triggers the chemicals. When you have a negative thought, that triggers stress chemicals like endorphin, serotonin, sorry, like adrenaline and cortisol. And when you have a positive thought, that
Mm.
triggers feel good chemicals. So the first thing you can do is watch what you're thinking. So we talked about the background thinking, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more in a moment, but just your conscious choice as well. So notice when I watch those kinds of videos or when I watch the news, I'm finding myself feeling stressed, frightened, angry, whatever that is. Okay, so you know not to do that. Then that's those connections are in real time putting the what you're feeling there is the effect of stress chemicals. On the other hand, I know that when I play a game or when I listen to an uplifting podcast or when I watch my favorite sitcom, I find it funny or I feel good. Okay, so now I know just on that level what to put my focus on determines what chemical. So if I want to fill my system with feel good chemicals, I'm going to focus on something that feels good. So that's on a surface level and that's in real time. Now we talk a little bit more sort of sustainable, ongoing. So the brain chemistry exercise, and I'll put the link in or the link is actually already in the description for you to download the free MP3 of that. So you can start by listening to that. It's under 2 minutes, I believe. And so you listen to that first thing in the morning, so that you are first thing in the morning, you're choosing to put feel good chemicals into your system instead of stress chemicals. Listen to it then, follow along with the MP3. You'll see it's such a short, easy little exercise that you'll only need to listen to it a few times, and you'll be able to do it without the MP3. You don't need the MP3, that's just to get used to it, and to learn it. So listen to it then. Listen to it while you're making coffee, while you are getting dressed. Do that exercise while you're in the shower, while you're taking a walk on your way to work. Do it as much as you can. In real time as you're doing it, you're putting feel good chemicals into your system. And it doesn't only just work then. It also is training, conditioning your brain and body to produce more higher levels of feel good chemicals compared to stress chemicals. The more you do it, the more the long-term effects. So it's like if you were to go running, if you were to run every day or every few times a week or whatever on an ongoing basis, your brain and body start to condition for running. So your muscles, your stamina, everything develops in order for you to run more effectively. This is the same, again, because it's physical. So every time you do it, you're improving your skill to do it, and you're creating neural networks that are going to make it easier and more effective, and so on. So do that as much as you can. And as I say, once you know the exercise, you don't need the MP3. You can literally do it while you're doing other things, and you don't need to close your eyes. You can do it while you are having a conversation with someone, and as you're going about your day. So that's that piece. So that's all changing chemistry in the moment, consciously. Now we go to the automatic stuff, as Madrone 77 pointed out, the background hum. So that's all about implicit childhood memories. So, we go into that as memory reconsolidation. We go into that quite a lot on this channel. And of course, there'll be links in the description on all, the science behind that and how to do it and all of that. But just very briefly, when we change the negative implicit childhood memories for the unconscious part of the brain. So just to clarify, we're not gaslighting ourselves or brainwashing ourselves. We consciously know what originally happened. We're changing the implicit memory for the unconscious part of the brain. When we do that to the opposite, positive, empowering, so we have positive, happy, empowering implicit childhood memories, then the brain, without our conscious input, is referring to those references and putting feel good chemicals into our system automatically. So we're not having to consciously do it. And of course, it's affecting the background hum that those automatic thoughts will automatically change to positive instead of negative, because there's evidence in the childhood memories of those positive beliefs and so on. So, and all of that impacts our health and healing. So, have I said everything, Steve? Is there anything
You,
else that I have left out?
no, obviously there is a lot there. I mean, you're obviously just hitting the surface, scratching the surface of the importance of changing negative childhood memories. But um, yeah, again, the impact of that and being able to change that background hum, that to me was one of those kind of things that I didn't even realize because anxiety was always present when I was a kid. That it I'm sure that it went back further than, my childhood memory could even access. So that feeling of anxiety, that background hum was always present. So as I did this work and started to change those implicit memories of anxiety in my own life, that background hum changed. And I realized for the first time, and it wasn't until I was in my late 40s and 50s that I started to experience what life could feel without that background hum of anxiety running in the background. And that was a paradigm shift in my life. And I know that other clients that, that I've worked with have experienced similar types of things, different emotions, different background types of hums that have been running. But once you have that experiential knowledge of shifting that background hum, that's when life changes exponentially.
Right. I also wanted, thank you for sharing that. And I also wanted to share about or talk about the subliminal subliminal tracks we've been doing. So
Ah,
we've been
yes.
creating and of course YouTube's full of them, subliminal messaging. So, and this goes for, meditation, affirmations, subliminal messaging. And we've started creating more of those. Now, what I want to make a point of saying is that that's not enough on its own if you have contradicting childhood memories,
Say a little
contradicting
bit more about
implicit,
what does
con-
that mean?
contradicting implicit childhood memories. So in real time, you're listening to the meditation, whether that's just plain music or guided meditation or subliminals.
Hmm.
So subliminals will get through, you know, m- often more effectively because it gets past the conscious mind gatekeeper and goes directly to the subconscious. So that's great. However, it's going to depend on the topic and the specific messaging and the person and the
Yeah.
childhood memories that person has. So, the reason I am mentioning this is because I tried using subliminals for a long time years ago, and they didn't really work for me for the topic I was addressing. And that was, I eventually discovered that it was because the messaging, the affirmations, the meditations, the subliminal messaging that was positive was going in, but my brain was then referring to my implicit childhood memories that proved it was dangerous to change, to
Hmm.
adopt this new positive message. So, and we can't
Yeah.
override that. We can't override existing implicit childhood memories that are providing that evidence. We have to change that. So it's a the effective way to do it is to use it together. So
Mm.
you change the childhood memories and use the meditation, the affirmations, the subliminals, whatever it is you're using as well, so that you're getting the best of both worlds. The the thing to do is use the subliminals, and if you find that it's not working for you, check your childhood memories, change those, and then use them again and keep doing that until you get the results. So I just wanted to, oh, and the other piece I wanted to say is that, of course, meditation, affirmation, subliminals, yoga, um, anything that makes you feel good is literally supporting physically your healing. So this is, anything that makes you feel good is contributing to your healing and your health
Yeah.
physically on a biological cellular level. All right, was that it?
Just a thanks to those people that have been commenting on the
Oh,
videos,
yes.
people that have been sending emails and messages and that kind of thing, giving us feedback and also providing some topics that they would find helpful for
Yes,
additional subliminals, meditations, videos like this. So we always, appreciate that kind of feedback. So keep that coming.
absolutely.
We
Yes,
appreciate it.
so if you have any suggestions for topics
Mhm.
that you'd like us to cover or questions you'd like us to answer, please put them in the comments of this video, and also, yeah, any additional subliminal tracks that you would like. All right, I think that's it for now.
Yep. Have a
And so I think
wonderful,
I have to,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say I have to press this button. Bye bye, everybody.
See